Hi fashion designers! In this video we will illustrate a pair of gloves. Let's take a look at the accessory section. It's located here on the left side of the toolbar. Each section has different styles: hats, glasses, belts and gloves, altogether over 80 different templates, and each of them contains a front, side and back view. So let's begin by selecting the gloves. This is the style that I will design. So the pair that I will be illustrating are the gloves from the Cruise 22-23 collection by Chanel by Virginie Viard, shown in Monte Carlo on May 5th. These fingerless and crochet gloves were presented in black, red and light pink and were almost always finished with bracelets and wristbands. So these are the reference photos that I pulled from Vogue, and let's start with having these two views that I have available on the photos. So I'm gonna just reduce the opacity of them and start on the first layer by selecting a pencil of a black color. I'll take the smallest size and just trace, but as well I will be taking a closer look to the reference to modify the shape according to this reference. So this part is the first finger and I'm going to look at the length. It's going to be probably approximately the same as the template. So looking at the reference, I probably need much less length for the fingers, and I will adjust that. And this is what I think is truly amazing, is that you can always look at the templates as a guide, as a starting point, and just to kind of locate where things would be, but like use your own design elements, etc. And it's much faster and easier to create a design when you have that structure there, rather than start from scratch. So I need to figure out the placement of the logo, and I'm just trying to see the scale overall of the element, and I'm treating it as a sketch because this is just one layer. If I don't like it, I can always create a layer on top and kind of retrace it, but I just need a rough interpretation of what will be my future illustration, just to see roughly how to navigate with this logo. Okay, I think this is pretty good, so I can continue the other view. I'll stay on the same layer and just I will just pay attention on what's on my front side, so that the length of the finger and everything just corresponds to the other view. So I'm checking the length and doing this mark for myself to see where it finishes. Okay, so this seems good. Now I have to do the same with the logo and look at the placement from the front to do the same from the side. And also I'm doing this small fabric insert over here. You can see it on the photo. I think that this part is actually wider on the original piece, so I will edit that as well. Okay, that seems good. So I want to add volume to these parts to show that it's not flat. Okay, I think that's good. So can remove the template right now and add one more layer on top to start filling in. And I see there's this interesting structure, so I'll try to find something in the library of patterns that would fit this idea. And it's going to be an experiment. This knitted textures are close, but each time there's like a different challenge how to show something, and it requires some creativity to find something suitable. Because drawing something from scratch is always gonna take a lot of time, and it's always easier to start with some kind of pattern. So I'm gonna have to try a few. Let's start with this one. So these are some of the macrame patterns, and this could be interesting. I think it can definitely work. So I will just try and check a couple more. I'm gonna take those knitted. So I'm sure there's like 3 or 4 that you can use, but it's just a matter of preference, I guess. I'm going to take see, there's just too many of them. So okay, let's try this one as well. This one is interesting, but it's like very small, so if I want to cut it and then scale it, then I think it would be nice. I guess it gives me more of the crochet vibes than the macrame, although I think totally both of them would work. I'll stick with this one. So I will delete the layer with all my experiments, add one more, and I will take this pattern and I'll just fill in some area. Okay, there's more space on the side. And I'll take scissors, cut it out, and zoom in on the gloves to the scale that I need, and then I wanted to press the accept instead of done. Okay, so I zoom in and press accept, and now I will erase everything that is outside of the border of my drawing. So I'm just trying to fill in the fabric parts with a fully black color. And this part as well is going to be filled in with black as a separate fabric. So I'll have to fill that in as well. Okay. So now I will add one more layer on top and suggest probably like a okay, this is not very transparent. I want to suggest like a material qualities to it. So right now there's just a pattern, but I want to show that it's fluffy kind of. It's fuzzy lines and there's some color on it, which is black. But I think this makes it way too dark. I don't know if I'm really happy about. If I layer it twice, there's also a rough edge. So I will try and do the same with the watercolor brush. So I think this is a much closer to where I need to be at this point. And I will make it darker on the edges to suggest some volume. So like I imagine as if it's on the hand, and just darken the parts that are following the shape of the hand. And now I can remove everything outside of this area. So what actually happened is that I ended up drawing on the same layer where I had this black parts, which shouldn't have happened. So at some point I have switched the layer. I've made some mistake. So that means if I erase now, I will also affect this black part. So in case that happens, I'm gonna have to get back and fill it back in. But if you're going to draw, yeah, just it's better to keep each step on a separate layer so that you're not affecting what you have already created. And you can always merge layers together later. It's a new feature and it's been just recently added. It's super nice. You can create different layers with different content that you need, and then when you want to unify everything, you just merge them. So now I'll get rid of the extra parts and see if I need some fixing after that. So here I'll have to actually break in with a razor, but that's okay. I will fix it after that. So I'll quickly select the pen and fix these problems. Okay, that was easy. So there's one problem with this piece right now that I'm gonna fix. I'm adding one more layer and I need to create a fluffy edge on these gloves, because right now they look as if it's some kind of a fine mesh that is printed with some pattern. And the reason for that are edges. Edges always show the material. If you, for example, take a very smooth edge of the piece like the one I have right now, and then you apply, let's say, a fur pattern to it, it will look like the fur pattern is simply printed on some smooth fabric, because if it's fur you will see on the edge the separate this fuzzy edge, right, of the fur. So that's the same thing I have to do now. So I took a pencil with a very large size, and as I am treating the edge with this like fluffy line, I will get the effect that this piece is actually a crochet piece. Okay, so now I want to add the same feeling to the middle of the gloves, and I will draw something like a loops, or something like the looks like loops, and just keep going like that. It doesn't have to be all over, but just enough to understand that it's all over the surface. It's not just one or two pieces. So adding one more layer, and I'm going to take a black color, but I will take it lighter with this toggle, and on a new layer I will use a pencil for the logo, because it has volume on top of the glove, so therefore it's going to be lighter because it's getting more light. So I'm going to cover roughly the entire area first. And same thing on the other side. Okay, so I pulled the drawing on top. It's better to hide it under. Okay, so I need to create these darker parts around, so I'll just quickly fill this in. So I'll stay on the same layer, and I will take a black color now, and I will take a larger size to define these dark shadows around the logo. And same on the other side. And with this gray color, I can just touch the sides to blend sort of these transitions between black and light gray, and it looks like a pipe. So it automatically has volume, this transition. And the same I'm gonna do on the other view. And now I need to show the threading, so I'm going to take a pencil of a smaller size and black color, and it's important to not make it just straight, because that will just kill the volume. You have to imagine how that pipe is rounded and sort of direct the strokes almost like on top of that pipe. I'm making it also a little bit inconsistent, so some of them are like harder, some of them lighter, to give this natural diversity of pattern. Okay, looks good. So I just think about these little holes in the crochet. How can I show them better? And I will probably try to take a white color and see if I can erase, like draw some of these holes. How will it look like? Yeah, I think that's looking good. And I'm following this pattern that I've applied to begin with. Kind of like filling into these shapes of it. So the idea is not to be too literal and just to suggest it in a couple of places, and then basically you have already the understanding that this is a crochet with holes in it. So I'll start with a small amount and on the both views, and then move along to see if I want to add more. So the goal is to show that it's all over the gloves, but at the same time to not literally do it all over. So between fully done and fully filled in with these holes, and just a small suggestion, which may mean that these holes are some sort of a pattern. You have to find the middle ground to kind of show that it's all over without actually drawing it. And I think that looks good. And I want to take a black color and break these perfect circles and kind of draw some more loops around them, which will give a better feeling like these holes are made from the loops of the thread. Okay, just I'm going to clean these parts. Okay, so it's time to work on these left details of the material that is the piping, and suggest some light on the sides, on the edges, to show the volume. And some highlight. So I wanted to unify to make these steps of from light to dark less noticeable. So that's why I swipe like with a darker color all across. And I will repeat pretty much the same things on this view as well. Okay. And I will also need to add some stitching. I'll take a black color and switch to the dash line. Actually just one side. And this part of material I need to actually suggest some light and dark on it as well. So I figured I'm still using the dashed line. I need just a simple mod. So I will give this soft light with a watercolor brush. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm just checking if there's anything that's missing. I think this is it, and I really hope you can repeat the same and learn something new. Let's be done with this. And one more thing, if you press plus, you get to a quick start menu. There's a tab called inspiration. You can download so many different completed projects by different artists by just simply tapping on one of them, and it will appear in your gallery. So let's tap on this one and you can see the progress downloading. So now I have this project in my gallery, and what's cool thing about it is that you will be able to access it with different layers as well, which you can hide and illustrate your own version of it, or put your accessories on top of it or anything. Thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel.